Welcome back to Hammer Away Radio, where Viking Stew is gearing up for a hits-driven convo with tri-state area journalist and author Adam Bernard to talk a bit about his second book, One Hit Wondering, the stories of 41 hit wonders and other tales from the crates. It's currently out and enjoying great early success, hitting #1 on the Amazon New Releases and Popular Music chart over books about artists such as BTS, Madonna, Britney Spears, and JoJo. With One Hit Wondering, Bernard doesn't simply discuss the hit each artist had, he does a deep dive on their other career achievements, going down rabbit hole after rabbit hole to get the story beyond the story. The book was inspired by an idea spawned from a monthly column on Bernard's long-running music blog he still writes today called Adam's World. As he was approaching his third year of writing the column, he knew he wanted these stories preserved in book form. The author states, "I didn't want these stories lost to time. I think we've all seen how the internet isn't forever. Websites go down or get wiped in the blink of an eye. I knew I needed to do something special for these artists." One Hit Wondering, the stories of 41 hit wonders and other tales from the crates, is absolutely loaded with information about the artists who created some of your favorite songs. It's a must-have for those who want to have the inside track, or perhaps just want to show off your music knowledge at your next social gathering. One Hit Wondering can be purchased most conveniently on Amazon. And now, on to our regularly scheduled program. Please feel free to move about the cabin. And furthermore, please do not act a twit.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me, mate?
All right. Hello, everybody. And with us today, Adam Bernard, as you heard right there. So, hey, look at that book.
How's it going? Thank you.
That.
All right, we're going to have to find a way. Yeah, we're going to get you a copy. Yeah, but thank you for that amazing intro. I didn't realize I was free to roam about the cabin. That's good. That's good to know.
You just never know. You know.
When does the meal come?
It's usually about halfway through. You know.
Okay.
That's
right.
Why your door's open right now, because the meal's.
Oh, that's where catering comes in. Yeah.
That's it. Spare no expense. Catering and everything. It's funny because Adam asked me about the door, folks, and it's just wild because he's like, "Do you want me to shut the door at all?" I'm like, "No, it's fine." And he goes, "Okay," because some people do ask me to do. I'm like, "Really? Wow, okay."
People get freaked out by open doors. I don't know why. You know, they always say if there's an open door, walk through it. But you know,
right. Unless you're like this staticky girl that's in sepia tone, then that's kind of weird. With her long hair.
Yeah.
Seems a little wet. Yeah, I don't want that coming through the door.
I don't think closed doors stop her, though.
No, they don't. I don't want to see her coming through a closed door either.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on. You know?
Be a quick episode.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks. Rest of the script, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they say about. Have you seen the new Spider-Man movie?
I have not.
Does that interest you?
Unfortunately, well, maybe not unfortunately, I go to so many concerts and stuff.
Yeah.
By the time I have a night to myself, it's usually spent either reading a book or passed out asleep. So I do not get to movie theaters. Also, where I live during the pandemic, almost every movie theater shut down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now,
I think the closest movie theater to me is almost half an hour away now.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
I used to have 3 within about 5 miles. And instead, the closest one is 30 minutes away now. Movies are really hurting.
Because you're down, we're in the same time zone. That makes it easy on us. And it's and you're down Texas way, down by Dallas, right?
No. I'm in Connecticut.
Oh, you're in Connecticut. Other gentleman that I'm going to talk to next week is in Dallas. I don't get this straight.
It's all good. I'm in Connecticut. I got good friends in Texas.
How's life out there on the East Coast today?
It's not bad. I mean, I'm within an hour of New York City. I hop on a train. I'm there in 80 minutes, which I know isn't within an hour, but that's, a lot of stops. Wow. So, I'm in the city in the Lower East Side multiple times a month to check out indie bands and to go to nice cozy, intimate venues with sticky floors and sometimes scary bathrooms, but that's what it's all about.
Those are the places I play in my band, so
That's then it's what it's all about. It's where the heartbeat of it all is.
Although I will tell you, I don't think I've ever played a place that was as bad as where I saw Stryper play once. That was
it
was decadent, terrible, nasty. I'm like, how the hell did you guys get in this place? It just was. I thought the ceiling was going to fall down. It was just terrible. It was.
The last few years of the studio at Webster Hall, you could feel the floorboards moving, and that's not comforting. It's fun when you survive, but it's not comforting. Yeah.
Yeah, and it may be fun for a while, but man, you're like, I think when you leave and nothing has happened, you're like skipped out on a bad issue there.
Now I can tell this story because it's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So when the floor goes one day, you're like, I knew it. When
I was there. I was there the day it was moving. Yeah. Thank you, Tonight Alive, one of Australia's best bands. Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'll start with a quick lightning round. Usually I have a few questions that I do that are quick answers for a lightning round.
All right.
What's your, now you do, I just want to make sure, you do collect vinyl, you shop for vinyl and CDs?
I have, I dive into used vinyl. I dive into used CDs like crazy. I was just at a library sale a few weeks ago where I came home with, half a dozen records and a dozen CDs. So yeah.
Perfect. So what is your, and I'm going to make sure you can see my vinyl right over there. That's
nice.
My collection. We just did I did a 5-hour show the other day, Adam, redoing this whole thing because I built these two boxes that are right here in the middle between the skeletal hands that are giving one of these.
Oh, nice.
I built those to add on so I had enough room for everything that I'd purchased, which is sick. And so I bought new 4-inch wheels for casters at the bottom. So I can move
that's very cool.
Right. So I can move the end
That's
pieces.
Brilliant.
I'm just like,
that's brilliant.
They had these little wheels on them that were like probably really pissed off at me. They're like, if you'd look me up, you'd see I'm not built for this weight. That's what they would tell you. So I love finding vinyl. So we just did that. But what's your favorite vinyl find as of late? Was it
let's see.
You found it, or was it maybe something super special a couple times ago?
Okay, I did just review this a couple weeks ago. It's a 2 LP compilation album called Exposed.
Shut up. Hold on. Wait a minute. Excuse me. Okay.
There's an Exposed 1 and Exposed 2. I got Exposed 1.
That's what I just put it. Where did I put it? It's right here. It's right here. Right here. I've talked about it on this show.
Yes, that's it. The best provocative new rock.
Dude.
Yeah.
I bought it for $5. This one I bought for $5, sealed in foil.
Amazing.
I'm like,
when I saw the lineup of artists, I said, "Yeah, we're buying this."
Yeah. Adam and the Ants, Ellen Foley, Steve Forbert, Garland Jeffries, Judas Priest, Loverboy, and
there's a great Boomtown Rats song on there. Sorrows is on there. Yeah. I mean, it just, every artist on there is worth listening to. And when I saw it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is something I'm going to review for the blog because everyone needs to know about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that makes two of us talking about this thing because I flipped out. I found it for that cheap, sealed.
In that condition, that you can't get better than that.
This one, this is my original. It's in great condition. I barely listened to it, but this is where I bought it. I bought it because it had Adam Ant on it, and I have a buddy of mine who turned me on to so much music, and Adam Ant was one of them. Oh my God! I can't.
the song that's on there, one of the two songs he has on there, Killer in the House, is so good.
Yes.
And I hadn't heard it until that compilation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had not heard that song until that compilation.
And
So I was like,
Dog
that is
great,
incredible.
too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So one of my great latest vinyl finds is one of yours as well.
That's crazy. What about so that was you found that in vinyl. What about a CD?
Okay. I have a thing for autographed stuff. And sometimes I will find an autographed CD or even an autographed book while going to these library sales. And I happen to find a William Hung autographed CD. Now, for those who don't remember, William Hung was the young Asian student who went on American Idol and tried to sing Ricky Martin, and was pretty terrible. But Koch Records, which isn't Koch Records anymore, but they decided they were going to capitalize on it. Had him record an album, and there's a DVD with it apparently too, which I hope to someday watch and turn into a drinking game, because let's face it, that's what. Yeah, but that's come on. You can't just invite someone over.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just invite someone over and be like, hey, you want to watch the William Hung documentary? No. You want to do a drinking game to the William Hung documentary is how that has to work. So
you down
it
for
was
some
signed.
shots? Come over. I got a perfect video.
Yeah, it was signed to Jeanette, and I'm like, all right, fine. I'm like, we're picking this one up for $1, or maybe it was $2. That was a fun one to find, and just bizarre. I did also find a really good Stevie Ray Vaughan album as well. But yeah, when you can find a William Hung autograph CD, you kind of have to pick it up. I also found there a handful of years ago, me and a buddy found the very ill thought out, and she admits it was a bad idea, the Jamie Lynn Sigler CD that was signed.
Wow.
And I had to put it up on social media, and I was like, does anyone know if this is her real signature or not? And someone had actually been working, I believe, at a Tower Records at the time, one of my friends, and he was like, yes, she did this. I was there. This is what her autograph looks like. So thank you to my friend who she was working at Tower Records to, give authentication to that. And of course, now as a Mets fan, Jamie Lynn Sigler is part of Mets lore. She's married to Lenny Dykstra's son. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. It's amazing how it all gets worked together.
Yeah.
Then kind of, do you have a certain thing that you search for when you go into record stores, and then you just bump into other things? Is there, like, I'll give you an example. Whenever I find a copy and it's at a good price, usually $8 or less, I buy a copy of British Lions, which is from 1978. It's the rest of the guys from Mott the Hoople with John Fiddler, who would then be in Box of Frogs. And when I find it, I love the cover. The same guy turned me on to them that turned me on to Adam Ant. And but I just love the record. And if it's cheap enough, I'll buy it and give it as a gift. So, like, I'd love to get you a copy of it. It's such a great record if you've never heard it.
That would be great. I mean, when I go to a record store, once in a while, I'll have like something in mind, but so often I'm just like flipping through the $2 bin or whatever, and just, does this look interesting? Does this look interesting? And then of course I slip out the record. Does this look playable? And I've discovered so many interesting bands that way. What I do is I will look at the liner notes, if they have liner notes, to see who they worked with.
Yeah.
And when you find like, oh, this person had a backing vocalist who became gigantic, or this person was co-signed by Jackson Browne, why do I not, know who this is?
Right.
The biggest one of that was a band named Romeo's Daughter, rock band from overseas. They had one song on a Friday the 13th soundtrack, but I don't remember which one. But when I flipped over their album, what stood out to me was every single song was produced by either Mutt Lange or John Parr.
Oh, wow. See, there you go. Okay. Yep.
And I'm like,
Right.
who the hell is this band and why don't I know who they are?
Yep.
So I picked up the album and then I tracked them down and did an interview with them, because that's what folks like us do when we find something that's interesting. We're like, hey, you're still around. We're talking to you. So got some good Mutt Lange stories from them.
Is there anybody that you've, this will be one of my questions too, because there was something I was going to ask you that I thought, but this would be one of them. Is there anybody that you wanted to, I mean, these days there's a bunch probably, but is there anybody specific that you can think of a while back that you were like, I'd really like to interview them, and they're off the cuff? I mean, they're more of a deep dive, maybe from a well-known band or something, but then they pass and you're like, oh, I can't talk to them.
Oh, that who passed. I've interviewed obviously a bunch of people who have passed.
I might have done that too. I
may have been Proof of D12, Eminem's career. I may have been his last interview.
Wow.
It was either me or a buddy of mine. We were scheduled the same week, and then he was murdered. And he was such a great guy. I'm trying to think of. I will say one. He hasn't passed yet. Okay. He is in his 80s, so he's sort of on my bucket list.
Sure.
Is Ray Parker Jr. Wow. During my dives through vinyl, I discovered his old funk band Radio.
Yes.
And
right.
As I was listening to the music, I was like, "Oh man, this bass player is awesome. This guitar player is awesome." And I started going through it. I'm like, he's all of them. He's he plays every instrument. He produced it. He mixed it. I'm like, why do we not know more about this guy? We just think of him as the guy who did Ghostbusters. And so he's definitely someone I would like to get to soon, because, artists in their 80s, they're not going to stick around forever. I would have loved to have interviewed Meatloaf.
Yes, that would have been I never thought about that, but yeah, that would have been a good one.
Yeah. When I was a young lad, my first job was at a hardware store, a local hardware store.
Sure.
I built lawnmowers and grills and things like that.
Sweet.
And one day they put me on the delivery truck with the guy, and we delivered something to Meatloaf's house. Yeah. He was not home, unfortunately, but yeah, we did deliver to Meatloaf's house. So
wow,
that was pretty cool. Didn't get to go inside, but
man, yeah. I'm a bass player, and one of the guys from the 70s that I really admired on bass, still do admire his work, that passed away, was Paul Goddard from Atlanta Rhythm Section. And I mean, especially if you have a bass player that delivers something that on 2 of your records, you're going to have him go into a bass, solo during one of the songs. I think that says a lot. Another Man's Woman, and then he did it on Champagne Jam, I think. He had a bass solo right in the middle of it. I'm just like, that's freaking cool. It's very melodic. It's very good. So
when I think of bass solo, the first thing I think of is Vanilla Fudge's Break song, where all 4 of them got 10 minutes to do whatever they wanted. Maybe not 10, but it's a 24-minute song that's basically one giant jam session, and each one of them gets a solo. Yes. And yeah.
That and Spinal Tap, when they do Big Bottom, and all 3 of them are playing basses up front.
Exactly. So, yeah.
That's great. So then, when we get into the book, we're going to find out, we'll talk a little bit about how it's broken into eras. What is your favorite era? Is it one of those that's in the book, or is it another?
I have love for various eras for various reasons.
Okay.
But I think the stereotype of when you were in high school and college, it's probably your favorite era. And I was in high school and college from 92 to 2000, which, let's face it, was an amazing set of years for music.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way. I'm not from that time frame. I mean, my high school years were very late 70s into the early 80s. And then I worked on the
And then,
radio in '86 and college and all that, and then the '90s
so
came.
yeah, that '90s era
And
is
there was stuff
just
that I
so,
liked, but
yeah, so many different genres of music were suddenly born, and some of them didn't last very long, but it was just so exciting, and it was still, MTV had started to do television shows, but you still had enough music on MTV where you could turn it on at most hours and see music videos, especially late at night.
absolutely.
So it was the exposure was so good for it. That combination of having CDs and reinvigorate the music industry financially, and MTV having a bunch of different shows to give opportunity to these artists, and radio being, before the government decided Clear Channel could own everything, radio having more of a plethora of genres being played.
What year did that
It was
happen?
just it was the perfect recipe. I believe it was the Clinton administration was the one that allowed all of that to sort of go to poop. Yeah, I don't know if we can curse on the show, so poop emoji.
You can say shit, fuck. It's all of
Oh,
those.
okay, yeah, but yeah, it
All those
definitely,
fucks.
it's tougher on radio now.
Yeah,
But that's why I listen to independent radio and stuff like that.
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I've been, I don't know. I grew up during 8-track tapes, so I think there are certain things that are horrid in the life of music. 8-track tapes and FM radio. I just think with all the commercials these days and stuff. I used to work at a school, and I had the teacher with whom I worked towards the end would just turn on the radio, and he goes, "Well, you can do whatever you want if you want to switch it off or whatever, or play something." Because I'd take in my speaker, but I timed it one time, Adam. There was
Yeah,
7 minutes of commercials. 7. I'm like, are we gonna play any fucking music or what are you doing?
yeah,
Uh, and I'm like,
that's
this is
absurd.
ridiculous. I'm like, God,
Yeah,
I do not sit here and listen to this for frickin' commercials. Um,
yeah.
where do you stand these days on some of the older bands that maybe I would say probably shouldn't be touring anymore? Um, but where do you stand on that?
Well,
Have you seen some that you're like, oh my God?
yeah, without naming any names,
Mm-hmm.
I do love a good nostalgia tour.
Mm-hmm.
A handful of years ago, ooh, maybe not a handful, maybe it's more like 10 years ago, when things like Summerland and Under the Sun started, and you had those 90s bands like Sugar Ray, Blues Traveler, Eve Six
Right.
traveling together. Those were a lot of fun. I think everyone got the point of your set is probably a half hour, you kick out your hits, you give everyone a good time, and then you get off the stage.
I think that's a great
And
idea.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, it worked so well for them, worked so well for Everclear. I remember seeing who did I see? I think it was Everclear, Soul Asylum, and a few other bands together. It worked really, really well. But I have heard from a few friends who've been to some stadium shows recently that some of the acts that are touring and trying to do 90 minutes to 2 hours simply don't have the vocal prowess anymore. And it's really hard for someone to hang it up because you don't want to. It's music. You want to be able to do
Right.
this for the rest of your life.
And there are people buying the tickets, obviously.
Oh yeah, you're still selling out the arenas based on your name.
Yep.
But people are leaving thinking like, they couldn't hit the notes anymore.
Right.
I think when you stop being able to hit the notes, it's really hard as a singer. As a player, you're probably going to be able to play until infinity unless you have an injury or arthritis or something like that. The singer is the one who has to know. I mean, I don't want to name too many names here, but I don't think a single person has said Vince Neil is still singing well.
Right.
It's just one of those things like, oh, well, Vince Neil is probably not going to be great, but yeah. But same generation, from what I've heard from everyone who's seen them, Def Leppard still sounds fantastic.
They do. They do on their, like I saw a podcast once. They did a video on 10 bands that need to hang it up, and they hit the list. Now, the reason that they hit the list is because the person was saying, look, these guys still sound great. That's not the point here. The point is, if you saw Def Leppard like I did, I saw them on Pyromania, and
Oh,
Uriah Heep at that time, which was like an old band. Um, in '83, I saw Uriah Heep open, then Quiet Riot on the Metal Health tour, then Def Leppard for Pyromania tour. So all three of those bands were there, and you saw all the action. And then we saw the Hysteria tour, and then I never saw them. I don't think I ever saw them again after that. But now he was just saying it's just no energy. They all just stand there, kind of, and just play, and it's not indicative of what their music calls out. You know, the one that's the most energizing is Phil Collin, which is understandable. He's in such damn good shape. So, you know,
yeah.
um,
I actually remember Sugar Ray being pretty high energy when I saw them about like 10, 15 years ago.
yeah,
B-52s during one of their sort of last tours were still high energy.
yeah. And those
Yeah, you
guitarists
don't
now,
want
they started.
someone.
They are, they're from the '70s. You know,
Yeah, so you don't want, yeah, someone who just sort of stands there and goes through the motions. You want someone who's
right.
going to try to get you up and moving and remember when, your knees didn't hurt first thing in the morning.
Yeah, it's kind of like Lover Boys in the same boat. I mean, it's just you just and I'm not saying don't. I don't do whatever you're gonna do. I was just thinking, if there's other people around you that would probably like to hang with you and see you at this age, and,
Yeah.
but they don't need the money. I don't think. Um, well, let's get to the book. You got when you're looking, there it is. Thank you. When you're when you're looking at that, and what you did was you covered basically starting with the '80s. When I got to looking through PDF that I have, when I was looking at where you start, I was like, oh, okay. So because I mean, I have a lot of '80s things that I'd like to talk about in the same vein. And then you went into the '90s to 2000, then the aughts, and then um, how did you decide what? That must have been harder than hell to know, and it's great. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that you pulled up 40 of them. That was brilliant. First of all, because why not? It's top 40, like you said. I get it. So you have 40 bands.
Exactly, top 40. Those of us who grew up with Casey Kasem automatically
Exactly.
associate the word 40 with music.
Exactly. Because we also grew up with Shaggy and
Yeah.
Robin. So, because he did those voices. So anyway, but yeah, I mean, that must have been hard as hell, dude.
Put it, what, parts of what?
Just to try to figure out what to put in and what to leave out.
Yeah, I
how to
mean,
pare down those 40. Because God, there's
what was funny was my early ones. Some of the early ones are in there, some of them aren't, because it started out as what I thought was going to be something quick and easy. I would listen to the album of a one-hit wonder and give 3 songs other than the hit that people should hear.
yeah,
But I'm a nerd. And the deep dive on the artist became the thing I really loved doing, taking multiple days of just trying to unearth information and pull at threads. And this person worked with that person, worked with that person. So some of the early ones I just didn't think were beefy enough for the book. And some of the ones I wouldn't say I wanted to exclude them, but when I was figuring out the 40, I said for some of them, this story has been told. This artist is known enough. And yeah, there's still some known artists in the book, obviously, like Rockwell, Chumbawamba,
well, yeah,
people who are known.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I
I was gonna
definitely
say,
wanted to include more of the obscure ones.
right. I mean, it just, let me do this real quick. If it's okay with you, I'm gonna pick 12 of these throughout the
Oh,
list
wow.
here. I'll just pick 12 of these, just so that everybody knows what kind of span there is, because there's 40 of them, and
Yeah.
I don't want to give everything away. You buy the book. That's why you're buying the book. Um, but let's just say Boy Meets Girl, Calloway, Johnny Kemp, Michael Damian, Taco, When in Rome, Divinals, Urban Dance Squad. Here's one everybody knows, Chumbawamba, Meredith Brooks. I have to say that one because I just watched What Women Want. And Skee-Lo and the Cardigans. So that's a span through all the different eras of what's in here. Now, I am not familiar with a bunch of these. But I know there's a couple handfuls that I do know, and that I own or whatever. But, I do have to ask you though, going to the 80s, what about the Vapors? That's the first one on my mind. Because the other day, before I knew what this book was all about, the other day, I'm like, I'm going to sit down and listen to that Vapors album. Because I've never listened to it, but damn it, that song is one of my all-time favorites. God, I love that song.
Oh, I hope my friend Dave Schneider from the Zambonis tunes into this one, because that was the first band he mentioned too.
Oh my God. That's
it's
awesome.
a great song. It's a great song. And I honestly think the main reason they're not in here is because I didn't cross paths with the album while digging.
Okay.
Okay. I started digging in my own collection, but then it really became an exercise of like, who's this thing I'm going to find while digging,
right.
And allowing that to be the start of the process. So I didn't find them. I did do some more research on them though. And for as great as that song is, it barely cracked the top 40.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yes.
That shocked the heck out of me when I saw it was like 36 was its peak. I'm like, are you kidding me? This song became, I would define it as a hit despite the fact that it never even cracked the top 20 or top 30.
That's a good question for in a little bit. Let's cover that in a little bit too. Yes. Because you're like, okay, so is there anything that didn't make it in here, or anything that you couldn't put in here that people contest, that they're like, no, that's a one-hit wonder band, or you're like, well, they're not a one-hit wonder, and they're like, yeah, they are, and you're like, no, they're not.
The biggest one like that? Well, the biggest one I've come across that people are like, oh, I'm sure this is in the book, and I'm like, that they had a second hit, is Aha.
Oh yeah.
Everyone considers Aha a one-hit wonder because history has decided to totally erase their other hit from everyone's memory. And radio and MTV, I don't know if they were brilliant at this or if it's just not an accident. Maybe it was just an accident. But for some of these bands from the 80s especially that are considered one-hit wonders, it's just because their second hit was buried. And I do think that if people... it's called The Sun Always Shines on TV.
Wow, okay.
It was a top 20 song, okay, and it's got a bizarre video.
Here in the States. Is everything that you're talking about with this book and everything like that, is that all from the U.S.?
No, I mean, yeah, obviously Aha aren't from the U.S. They're from Norway.
Well, I just meant, but are all the charted things as a hit, are they all from the States?
Yeah. I tried to keep it there, although I will say as I continue to write the column, I've come across a few bands that they had like a song that was not quite a top 40 hit in the US that like hit number 1 in like 10 other countries. And I think I might want to write about them. So it's that weird sliding scale of what's a hit. But yeah, I try to focus on the Billboard chart back when it mattered. I have a lot of beef with what they've done incorporating streaming and how they've incorporated streaming. I get that they had to incorporate it, but the way they've done it has really cheapened the concept of a hit and cheapened the concept of platinum. But yeah, it's another conversation for another time.
Yeah, let's do that though. I love some of that stuff where it's, you're like, oh, that would be good to tackle later. I just was wondering too, did you also think about doing a 70s area, or
My knowledge of the 70s isn't quite as
okay.
in depth.
Okay.
So I was going to have to start at the 80s.
Right.
There are some interesting 70s one-hit wonders.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about, I'm trying to think of the one from The Last Dragon. I think her name was Charlene. She had like a one hit on Motown. When you think of a local band, air quotes, for me in Connecticut, Steam, right? They had their one hit that is played in stadiums everywhere.
Wow.
But
Yeah,
for the
Steam,
most
yeah.
part, my knowledge of the 70s isn't quite up to par with some of that.
That's smart. So that's good. That's good.
Got to stay with the wheelhouse.
Yeah, I think of bands like, okay, sure, why not? Lighthouse. There's Edison's Lighthouse, all that kind of stuff. Like,
did Golden Earring ever have a second hit?
See, that's the funny thing. I want to say that they did because, they did because they did much later. They definitely had that hit with. Why can't I say the name of the song? It was in the 80s, so they had the one in the 70s.
Oh, okay, so it was one of those.
Yeah,
so it was like Men Without Hats. So it was so far removed from their first hit that people kind of forget that it's the same band.
Right. And Men at Work, I mean, did they? I mean, I know you were mentioning them in the book, and that's one of the.
Men at Work had two major hits. They had Land Down Under, and they had Who Can It Be Now?
And then what about it's one word. I was like, I'm terrible. I need to I'm like a game show idiot when it comes to stuff. I'll even mention it like this. I'll bring it up, and then I'm like, the song. I even played it. Overkill. Was that ever a hit?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'd have to look that up.
It's got the same kind of line as bass line and descending line as 38 Special. Hold On Loosely. It's got a very same, it's day after day it appears, night after night my heart breaks.
Yeah, I don't know if
ghosts appear and fade away.
I don't know where that charted.
Yeah, so I mean, they had it seemed like they had, I don't know, maybe another song that was on the radio. But I always wondered about Overkill too. But there's got to be times where people are like, that's got to be a one-hit wonder, and you're like, no, it's not. But then there's some,
and there are also one-hit wonders that didn't qualify for the book for other reasons.
Oh, okay, like what?
Well, first of all, there had to be 3 songs other than the hit that are worth listening to.
Well, right.
So,
see, that's good. Thank you for mentioning that. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was the original premise. If I can't find 3 other songs that are worth listening to, you're not a wonder for me. Right. Also, the one that everyone says has to be in there that can't be in there is the Macarena, because the version we know of it is a remix that was released as a single. It wasn't the album version, which was all in Spanish.
Wow.
So we don't and they eventually included it in a future album, but I'm like, that doesn't count. There are a few songs that I absolutely love as one-hit wonders that I couldn't do because they were only on movie soundtracks.
Oh, yeah, right. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Never Met a Girl Like You Before. Great song. Only song on a movie soundtrack and not on an album. There is one song in this book that is on a movie soundtrack, but it was on an album first. Yeah. So then that was Amy Lorraine.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, this one didn't become a hit, but it's like songs like Mighty Wings by Cheap Trick, or, from Top Gun.
There are a lot of great, I believe Folk Implosion's Natural One, I could be wrong, but I believe that's a soundtrack song as well.
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes if it doesn't get included on an album, I can't
Nope.
do the shtick. I can't
No,
find the 3 other
It
songs.
doesn't work. It doesn't fit. It doesn't have
Yeah.
the correct pieces, so you can't
Yeah.
make it fit.
And you do have to limit yourself a bit when writing something like this. And I do feel limitations create creativity as well in all
Right.
forms of art. And in all, and this, it's good to be able to knock some of those artists off the list,
Yeah.
because it requires me then to dig deeper
Right.
and not just go with the same artists everyone else goes for.
Yeah.
And I like having that weird limitation.
Yeah. I think it's fun for like my kids. I was just thinking about earlier when I stepped away from the computer trying to get everything ready. I was just thinking about my kids, and I'm like, would my kids enjoy this book? Because it's their time frame too. And I'm just like, huh, because I think what a book like this does, the importance of a book like this is, first of all, it can open you up to a lot of other music. So the thing we have in common is the 80s, right? You and me. I may
Yeah.
not have loved getting into the 90s. It wasn't my favorite time, um, because a lot of my favorite artists at that time in the hair metal area started writing like shit. And so I was like, either they wrote like shit or something completely different that still wasn't going to make it because of who
And
they
so many
were.
of them were just shelved.
Yes.
The
Right.
label said, we don't want to pay you anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Good call. Absolutely. And there were so many cool bands coming out at the time. World Trade is a great band that came out in the late 80s into the 90s. Their second album just didn't do their first album didn't really do anything, but that second record really just wasn't worth it to me. I thought the third record they did much later was better. But, they stopped doing honest music as far as I was concerned. You know, they all were rich or high or both or drunk and they just weren't doing honest music a lot of the time. Tesla
They
had
could be
their
honest
stint.
about that.
Pretty right.
Yeah.
And I think I just, it's too bad. But I think that it can spark somebody like myself, as far as age is concerned, to kind of take a look at, those couple of time frames where I've been like, there's good music coming out. I am definitely not one of those people. They just don't make it like they. No, they do. You just don't hear about it, and that's why I do
Yeah.
this.
You have to search harder to find it, which is the real irony of it all. Because, oh, look how easy it is to get music. Well, yeah, and look how hard it is to find the good stuff.
Yes. Yeah. But it's, and it's fun when you find it. And I was just talking with my friend Dale Titus yesterday on the show, and we were just talking about music that people don't know about and never have known about. Out Your Direction in Philadelphia, I bring it up all the time. I had their keyboardist on the show a long time ago about Hybrid Ice out of Philadelphia. And
Okay.
just a phenomenal band. I mean, and I have all 3 of their albums, but I didn't know anything about them until I was working with a buddy of mine in the early 2000s. And he's like, oh yeah, where I'm from, there was a band called Hybrid Ice. They put out a couple of records, but I'm like, I've never heard of them. He's like, oh yeah.
One of my
Magdalene.
vinyl discoveries from the 80s,
Yeah.
earlier this year, is a band called King, a British band with an Irish lead singer named Paul King. They're British new wave. I picked up their second album, Bittersweet, just based on the cover. I'm like, this is, I think I did look it up on Discogs just to see what the genre was. And then I looked at the cover. I was like, yeah, that checks out. And I go, let's buy it. Because I think it was $4 or $5. And I was like, it's incredible. And not a single song from that album made it in America. I guess they had one song on their first album that sort of did. But I'm like, how did this fly so under the radar?
I don't get it, dude. I don't get it. That would be another show we should do. Let's get, if you don't mind, I would love to get back together. If you could pull 5 records and we just talk about ones that nobody's ever heard of,
Yeah, that we somehow just discovered randomly.
Yes. Now, there was one that, again, this buddy of mine, and he's going to be visiting in town soon. And he turned me on to so many records, so many bands that I had no clue about in my little hometown up north in Illinois. And one of them, though, is an album that's it's had a reprint in bigger formats, right? But if you like new wave stuff, it's from 1979, and it's Bill Nelson, who was in the Bebop Deluxe, and he went on to do an album called Red Noise was the project. It was Bill Nelson's Red Noise. And if you like new wave at all, you have to get that record. You can find it. It's not really expensive when I found it before. And I should try to find it.
Oh, I'll check it out.
But
yeah,
it's called Sound on Sound is the name of the album, but it's Bill Nelson's Red Noise.
Oh, wow, that's so funny. We had a music festival named that a few years ago.
Really? Ah,
yeah.
That's awesome. I hope I can guarantee that you'll love it. It's just one of the best new wave albums I've ever heard.
I'm sure it's better than the music festival turned out to be. It was.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. So let me ask you this too. How did you go about, if you don't mind me saying, if there's a quick answer to this, you don't need to do a TED talk on it, but I'm just wondering, how easy is it to do a self-publishing like you did with this book through Amazon?
Interestingly, for my first book, I had a publisher. I pitched, I got a publisher, and for this one, I began pitching it, and people were not seeing the vision, because I got a lot of, all of these are articles that are already online. This doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, no, you don't. It's a compilation. It's because online isn't going to exist forever.
And people like the book.
Yeah. And I decided I had learned a lot from my first experience with a publisher of what the necessary steps were. Okay. My biggest hurdle was going to be designing a cover myself. I mean, listen, as a writer, I know editors, so getting an editor wasn't going to be a problem.
Yeah, now I know an artist, I can do that stuff too.
Yeah, so it's like what I did for the cover, and I want to show it here.
Yeah.
I took a giant poster and flipped it over to the off-white side on my dining room table.
Sweet.
And I started organizing the CDs in a spill, because I wanted the spill to go from the front to the back cover. I didn't realize the UPC code was going to go there. But I wanted it to look like it was spilling like across the book.
Right.
And I eventually got the spill the way I wanted it. And for those, they probably can't see it, but
no, you can. Yeah, that's good.
The cool thing about the front cover, is I did it so it looks disorganized, but you can still read the artist and title of every album. I made sure of that. The back cover is not like that, because some of the album titles were so small, some were in weird fonts. I had one that still had a property of the record label thing on it. But I did that, then I hovered over it, standing on a step stool, took a photo with my phone, made sure it was high res. Then I just, went forever to pick a font and just did that on my own on the computer. Right. That was my one thing. And then I was like, oh man, I hope when I upload this works. And the first time it didn't. And I was like, oh no. But I got it. I got it to work. And using the Amazon tools was remarkably simple. I did spend a day researching it first. All the different ways to do it and some of the pros and cons. And yeah, getting it in there and getting it ready was a lot easier than I expected. Yeah. But I also knew that the hardest part comes afterwards with the PR and making sure people actually find it and,
Right.
and read it.
Right. Yeah, because I have a friend of mine who does books through Amazon as well. She does children's books. And there are things that I'd like to do, and I thought about that, and I just thought, well, you know,
And you have the platform.
right?
You have the platform, and that's where I'm.
Right.
I would never say we're lucky because we work very hard to have the platforms that we have,
Right.
regardless of size.
Thanks for
And
saying it that way too. By the way, that's the way I feel.
it's. I mean, it's another word I have a problem with is talent. When people say so talented, it's like, well, actually, it's a lot of hard work, but
Right.
it's still a compliment. Yeah, it's. Yeah. You were born playing the guitar. You worked many, many years, but we worked hard for these platforms that we have, and we're at a point where we can utilize that audience that comes to us for these things, that trusts us to be knowledgeable, that trusts us to do the correct work. And there's a great author, Anna David. I speak with her over email sometimes. We met many, many years ago, and she always says, you don't write a book to sell books. You write a book to reposition yourself in the world, basically. And it can be very, very big to suddenly say, like, I am the author of, lends so much more credibility to anything.
Yeah.
And that's great, especially in a world where AI is trying to ruin everything. An authentically written book matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Did you now I know that, part of your story too is battling through a cancer situation too, which was your first book. And
Yeah.
And how did you decide to, and what format is that book written? Is it pretty much
that book is
narrative?
called it's called Kimbro, Embracing Beast Mode to Beat Cancer, because I was training 6 days a week while going through 2 surgeries and 3 rounds of chemo. It's how I got this cool haircut, which I have kept. It's pretty easy. I wrote that book. I am very old school. I have a small notebook by my side here. Each week, I write 7 days of the week. I write the dates, and I fill it in pencil for, what goes on that day.
Sure.
And that became my outline. And I was able to somehow remember really vivid details of things I didn't think I was going to be able to remember because of the strength of some of the drugs I was on.
Wow.
But I was able to remember it all. I was able to go through everything from the pain to the diagnosis to every surgery and chemo, and maintaining a workout schedule, a work schedule. The last concerts I went to before chemo and the first ones I went to afterwards. And so that was a straight memoir, and it has helped a lot of people, and I'm very happy about that. And it's allowed me to volunteer with a wonderful organization called Immerman Angels, which connects cancer patients with cancer survivors so we can mentor them through treatments. And I'm actually, I don't know when this is going to come out, so the show may have happened, but on September 24th at the Bitter End in New York City, my friend Sam runs something called Leave a Lasting Mark, where he gathers New York City independent artists, and there's a theme for each event, whether it's a classic album, a year, a genre. And we were talking at a Mets game, and I was telling him, like, listen, I'm putting One Hit Wondering together as a book.
Heck yeah.
So could we do a one-hit wonder night? He goes, yeah, name the charity. And I told him Urban Angels. So on September 24th at the Bitter End, we're having a charity show for One Hit Wondering, and all the artists will be coming together. They'll be performing 13 songs from the book, and all the proceeds will go to Urban Angels, and it's going to be a blast at a legendary venue that everyone should go to at least once in their life.
Dude,
so it's how all of it combines.
Wow. That's wonderful, dude. Nice work.
Thank you.
Man.
I was so happy I could combine it all.
So are they gonna You said there'll be a certain amount of the songs that'll be played.
Yeah, I think the list he sent me was 13 songs. Because he also had to find like certain players that could do certain songs and certain vocalists. Because when we were discussing it early, I was like, listen, it would take a special vocalist to do the darkness. It would take a special vocalist to do Duffy. He's like, yeah, we're probably not going to hit those.
Come on, there's somebody out there that could, and even if you got yourself a woman to sing the darkness.
And he does enjoy gender flipping on some songs. He enjoys doing that. So it'll be interesting to see who he chooses for like Jennifer Page's crush, if it's a woman or a man.
Right.
But there are a lot of the songs we've chosen, maybe not a lot of them, but quite a few of them have male and female vocals. Something like How Bizarre or Steal My Sunshine, Waiting for a Star to Fall. So it's going to require a male and a female vocalist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool, dude. Yeah, I love thinking about those things. I've had lots of ideas that, you know, either they just don't come together or just people are, I don't know. There was a band that I saw one night, and I said, we ought to do something together, because then we can, you know, you can do your set early, because I knew they wanted to play early. And then I'm like, then we could spend 30 minutes in between playing songs together, and then you guys leave and we take over, you know. But it would be so cool to do something like that. I just think it's really neat. But
it's like you need someone else who's as into it, if not more so than you are sometimes, to put some of these things together. And in my case, I needed someone who had the connection to the bitter end. Right. So it all worked out perfectly. I covered his shows. We met at a show when he was doing video and I was writing about it. And that must have been like at least 10 years ago. So yeah, the people you meet at shows are the people you end up friends with for a while.
Yeah. Now I'm going to throw down on one more band that's in the book. Okay. I need to ask you a question. I have actually two questions about things specifically in the book, but Deep Blue Something. Have you, of course, Breakfast at Tiffany's, great song. I have the CD back there. And yeah, there's other good songs on there, and you know, and so it's easy enough to find other songs on that record. And did you ever see the Old English Humor video spoof that was done about that song?
Oh, I'm gonna have to after this now.
Yeah,
like no,
I think it's Old English Humor is what it's called, and it's just, oh my god, it's and I'm gonna look it up because I want to know if it's with an E, old with an E at the end. Old English Humor,
like a 40 ounce.
Yeah, Old English Comedy Group. That's what it is. It's Old English Comedy. And
Old English Comedy.
Yeah, they have a spoof. They're out of New York, and they have a spoof on Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah, thank God they went with Breakfast at Tiffany's, because if they had gone with, I believe, Roman Holiday was the original concept. Like, yeah, that would not have flown off. Yeah, no, that would not have worked.
No,
there's a roll off the tongue. Yeah.
The other thing I had to, I wanted to mention to you as well, is this whole Shel Silverstein.
Yes, album. One of my vinyl finds. Found that randomly going through used vinyl for $1.
Well, and until I can find it, I'm like, well, I'll see if I can download it. I can't get the one song will not download.
YouTube is the only place I think where you can find those songs right now.
Yeah. So you
Freaking at the Freakers Ball.
But you can't download it. It will say unavailable for I got stoned and I missed it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I have to ask you, because you had mentioned about Cynthia, the plaster caster.
Yes.
And since I am a 70s dude, you know that Kiss has a song about her, right?
That doesn't surprise me.
It's on the Love Gun record. I'm glad you don't know about it, so I can tell you about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nate did a song called Plaster Caster, and it's on there. It's on the Love Gun record. And I think I knew exactly what it was about early on, because I heard that record when I was at church camp.
Oh, I couldn't believe like Shel Silverstein had this whole other life.
Oh,
that
yeah.
As someone who only knew him as a children's author, was totally unaware of.
Yes. And
he's one. Circling back to your previous question,
sure. Yeah.
He is someone I wish I could have interviewed.
Oh, there you go.
Absolutely wish I could have interviewed. He is on my list, having dinner with your, 3 or 4 people from history. He is on the list because that dude has stories we never heard.
No. And there's videos out there about controversial, his controversial career. And you're like, well, he's just a dude that's got different thoughts. I mean, you have that today. You have like James Gunn doing stupid, shitty things with the DC universe that are like perverse, and you're like, oh, come on, man. This is a family outing. Don't put your bullshit in there and make it.
Yeah, I mean,
families.
When you think of like Shel Silverstein, it was 2 totally separate things. The people who were buying, The Giving Tree weren't buying Freaking at the Freakers Ball because they didn't know about it.
Nope.
Kinky Friedman was all in on the one side. Yeah, all in on being an absolute wonderful, crazy person. Again, someone else would have been great to interview him. Read his books. I found an autographed copy of one of his books while at a book sale. I was flipping through. I literally was about to leave, and I go, oh, this is the fiction section. Let me just look at the spines, because all of Kinky Friedman's books have very bright spines and his name is big. And I was like, da-da-da-da. Oh, look, Kinky book. Picked it up, opened it, and it had a book plate in it that was signed. I'm like, oh. I was like, okay, we're leaving. It's
like,
I got it.
When I found an autographed George Burns book.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Same thing.
Both rank slightly higher than the William Hung CD.
Yeah, right.
Just in the ladder. No offense, William, if you're listening to this. I'm sure you're a lovely person.
Just saying. I'm sure that's not the worst thing he's ever heard.
I mean, I'm sure he's gotten through it at this point. So Rebecca Black did. So
it's like how I don't tell my rock star friends that I found one of their records at an antique mall. Like this. I don't tell them that. I said I find it at a collectible shop.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I mean,
I'm always bummed when I see a Friends album.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did find a local guy record, Bob Taylor. Bob Taylor, is that right? Because I know a Bob Taylor. But maybe it's Bob Tyler, is what it is. But yeah, I found his album downtown at a Goodwill in a big old frickin' bin, and it's autographed, and it's just like old-timey music, sing-along music on a piano, and it's they got a drummer and a horn player, and it's autographed.
I found
I'm buying that.
Yeah, I found one by a band called Shenanigans, and it wasn't just autographed, but the inscriptions were wild. Like really wild, so much so I picked it up and I had to track them down. And thank God Shenanigans is spelled incorrectly, because it was the only way to find them.
Oh my God.
I tracked them down. I'm like, listen, I'm pretty sure you're this band. Can I ask you about these inscriptions? Because they were, let's just say, saucy and bizarre. And they replied. And they said, this is hilarious. Yeah, we used to do that with all the albums. And apparently one woman showed their husband and he was none too thrilled about it. We had to explain to him that this is just how we have fun. She wasn't really in our hotel room on a trapeze.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, Yeah.
Well, that reminds me of when I went to the NAMM show years ago, and I think I've told the story on here before, where I talked with Randy Jackson from American Idol, um,
Nice.
out there, and I gave my phone to him while I was trying to get a picture, and I gave it my wife. I said, "Oh, I said I got somebody I want you to talk to." So I handed the phone off to Randy. Well, when I got home, she's like, "I didn't know who it was." And I said, "Yeah, I get that." And she goes, "All I knew is there was a guy on the other end that said, 'Hey, I'm here taking pictures with your husband, and we don't have any clothes on.'" And I'm like, "He said what?"
My favorite random Randy Jackson trivia for anyone who wants to win a trivia night is he
Oh,
played the bass on Methods of Mayhem, Get Naked.
oh, really?
Yeah, liner note.
Wow,
So
wow.
maybe he was still in that mindset.
Maybe so. Yeah, maybe so. It could have. It would have been about the same time, because this was somewhere around 2008.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I still have not attempted to do a one-hit wondering on that album. Maybe someday, but
yeah.
finding the three other songs might be the ultimate challenge on that one.
Now let me ask you this real quick. What's one of your favorite? What's your favorite of the kind of the when you end the book, you've got some other stories to follow at the end.
Yeah.
And you have like the story of MC Scat Cat. You got the wild history of the 90s pop classic Torn. And you got the
Yep.
whale. And then there's Shel Silverstein stuff. So
Yeah.
what part is one of your favorites? Would it be Shel?
I,
Or do you think it's
Well, those four, I love all four of those, and I included all those because I thought they were in some way, shape, or form connected to, at the very least, the same audience who loves one-hit wonders.
very good? Okay, cool. Yeah.
The Shell one was a great find. The Natalie Imbruglia one, so few people know Torn was a cover, and they certainly don't know that she was the fourth person to sing it. And yeah, going through that was fun. Whale was hilarious because
That
I
filled
swear
with
to God,
Angst and Weltschmerz.
for so long I have had that song, Hobo Humpin' Slowbo Babe, stuck in my head.
Dude,
And I know I'm one of four
applause.
people who've had that stuck in my head. And I picked up the album in like a dollar bin, I think at Generation Records in New York City.
Wow.
And I knew I couldn't do it as a one-hit wondering because it technically wasn't a hit. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna track down someone from this band.
Sure.
And first, the thing I did, I texted my buddy Matt Flood, who runs Asbestos Records. He jokes that we've been arguing about music since high school, because it's true. And I text him, I go, "Hey man, you remember a Swedish alt rock band named Whale?" He's like, "Of course I do. Who do you think you're talking?" I'm like, "Good. I have an audience of one. All right, cool." So it took so long to track someone down from this band, and finally I found Henrik, and I got him through his website. And as I'm sending this email, I'm like, "Man, I really hope that someone who reads this can read English because your whole website is in
Oh
Swedish."
yeah.
And he got
Yeah.
back to me, and we did a Zoom. He was in the car. He pulled over. It was great. And Scat Cat was such a passion project. I just wanted to know, and I had no idea if anyone else did. But I figured if I wanted to know, someone else might too.
Right.
And tracking down two of the three voices was huge. Finding all the other information was big. And it's one of those stories where a friend of mine who worked, I believe, at ABC, when he retweeted it, he was like, "This is the story on MC Scat Cat you didn't know you needed to read, but you absolutely do." And I'm like, "Thank you." Like, yeah. And it's a fun one because I can retweet it all the time. Paula always, tweets something about Scat Cat, and I can, build on it and get a bigger audience for both the article and then the book. So yeah, all four of those hold a special place in my heart, and I love diving into things that are really obscure.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
as long as they have that audience of one, I'm like, if you have an audience of one, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, digging for something. and you
Yeah.
unearth something that you're like, but it's not for you. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of for you because you've succeeded in finding something.
Yeah,
But
you're
then
interested.
right, but you find it and you're like,
Yeah.
I think this person's going to freak out when they read this, or I
Yeah.
tell them about it. You know, it's
With
like
some
when
of
you
the one-hit
mentioned,
wonders,
yeah,
yeah,
go
with
ahead.
some of the one-hit wonders in the book, when I pull certain information, I'm like, oh, I know who's gonna freak out reading this. Like, and yeah, that's like, occasionally someone will get a tag on Facebook and be like, why? I'm like, just click. Just
Just you'll know why,
yeah,
please. I don't waste your time. Um,
exactly.
I think one of my favorite parts of those final pieces is when you do ask Henrik straight away. You're like, or during that bit of an interview, you're like, when you first saw my email and then I wanted to talk to you about whale, what was your initial reaction? I just love that
Yeah.
question. It's like, how you know that it was real or was legit?
Yeah,
That
like
kind
it's
of
been
thing.
25 years since you spoke about whale. I'm like, did you know this was real? Did you know it was legit? He admitted like he did some research on me. He's like, I guess this is legit.
Right,
Like, thank
right.
you.
I think that's great. I think that's awesome, man. I love
The
that.
funny thing is about that, I I also emailed the guy who directed the video,
Oh,
and I
really?
was trying to get to someone at first through him.
Yeah.
And while he was responsive and very nice, but he couldn't get me in touch. I had to get in touch through the website, and I didn't realize at the time because a buddy of mine had given me the director's email address,
Okay.
and I'm just thinking, okay, music video director, this is who I'm talking to. Yeah, I didn't realize till well afterwards he was also the director of the Mothman Prophecies. He was big time Hollywood, and I'm sitting here like, hey, remember that music video you did 20 like 30 years ago for like $50 with a skeleton crew you get pizza to? Like,
You're
yeah,
you're pulling a Chris Farley, right? You're like,
yeah. It's like, okay, did not realize. I mean, I hope that somewhere he was sitting back just being absolutely tickled that this person who clearly only
right,
cared about music.
right.
Yeah.
You can only hope, that they're not like, oh God, yeah,
Because I
Mothman
know so
prophecies.
little about Hollywood. I know so little about movies. B movies, fine, but Hollywood, no.
No,
That yeah, he's like, this guy's serious. He really only cares about this Swedish rock band. Like,
you're like,
yes,
yay!
that is
I
what I
could
care about.
I could talk about something else today. Fucking a.
Which, which is why I know I'm guessing once in a while you get it too, where you're like pitching someone and they're just thinking like, really? You want to do that? It's like, no, for real. I'm really interested in this. I am seriously invested. I want to have a conversation about this.
Yes, yeah, that was it. I always, if anybody talks about something in that vein, it's the one that always comes to mind is Niels Lozauer when he and I talked because my friend who kind of helped me get in touch with him um, was like, he really doesn't do that anymore, though. He's just tired of people going, so what was it like to hang out with Eddie Van Halen? You know, and
Yeah.
and that's not really about him. So when I had a discussion with him, I had to do that. I had to kind of prove myself. And he said, do you have 10 questions right now? I said, I don't, but I was going to watch your movie again, and then I'm going to write down my questions after I watch it. Oh, you've seen the movie? Yeah, yeah. I watched it. Now I'm going to watch it again before I do the questions so I can get back to you. So, and he liked the questions. So we did a show, and I was very happy, honored to do that. So that was really cool. Really cool.
Nice.
Uh, so, um, so yeah, I can let you go here, but I hope you get lots of sales on this book. It's a lot
Thank
of
you.
fun. I'm glad we got to talk about it so that people know, from where it starts and what it goes through, and um, and I just think I dig these deep dives as well. The one that I will mention that I want to make sure that I add into your conversation earlier because you were talking exactly what happened to me, and one of the players is the same, and it happened to me in 19. I'm going to say probably 1980, um, 80, 81, because it had to have time to become a cutout. So I was at a Venture in Peoria, Illinois, and they had a little bargain bin of vinyl. And so I'm flipping through it, and I see the cover of City Boy. If you've never heard this album, check it out. City Boy, The Day the Earth Caught Fire. It's got a painting of a motorcycle back wheel with the foot, and then it's
Okay.
right by a sewer grate on the curb. And you can see a glow coming from it as if the earth's on fire and coming up. So it's called The Day the Earth Caught Fire. I flip it over. The artwork on the back the photograph is kind of sepia tone. It looks really cool. I look down, who produced it? Mutt Lange. I'm like, well, I'm buying it. I don't,
Yeah.
it's cheap.
Instant buy.
Mutt Lange, great cover. These guys look cool. I'm going with it. And it was,
Yeah.
City Boy. And I'm like, then I found out that he produced all their stuff. And that I was told that Mike Slamer, who did the guitars for the band, and also was later in Streets with Steve Walsh, right about the time that I found that record, also played on Def Leppard's Hysteria, because that was a messy time for Def Leppard, and
Yeah.
and Mutt Lange just had to get the damn thing done, and he's like, I'm gonna bring in my buddy Slamer and work this out. So
That was
yeah.
that the one that was like the most expensive album? There was the one where they like Mutt Lange wanted a vacation. Was that Hysteria where he took time off and he tried to have someone else work it and it wasn't working out, and then they hired Jim Steinman and that didn't work out, and then Mutt Lange came back. I'm like, Christ almighty, how much did you spend on this?
I think that might have been it. I'm gonna watch that
That might
movie
have
again, because VH1 Classic had a movie called Hysteria. It was about the story of Def Leppard, and it went up to that time frame. And that's where it ended, was after that. But I got a kick out
Wow.
of it because the guy that they had playing Joe Elliott, it has it. I don't know if it was really like this or not, but he gets a phone call at his house, and what the hell's the guy's name? He was on Saturday Night Live. He's in Weird Science. He's Anthony Michael Hall, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
he played Mutt Lange. He was and he was in the Dead Zone TV show, and he played Mutt Lange. They have him calling Joe Elliott's house. I don't know if that really happened, but as soon as Joe Elliott said, "Yeah, you've worked with AC/DC and the Cars, and you've worked with the Outlaws," and I'm like, "Whoa, you mentioned the Outlaws." I about flipped on that.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I know I've got
And
that record, I love it. So it's kind of neat. I'm like, I'm in. They mentioned the Outlaws. That's where you know that they're making a
yeah,
good movie to a certain extent.
legitimacy right there.
Legitimacy. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah. Anyway, great records. Those are neat, and I just love what you were saying about that. It's totally the way I go. I flip it over. I see who's involved, and I'm like, well, if they're involved, I'll get it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're like, okay, done deal. If
Absolutely.
that person had that level of respect or that weird connection, we're gonna have to hear it.
Yep, absolutely. Real quick, give me your favorite in-town record store and another record store that you like. You mentioned one from New York. Is there a record
Okay,
store
so
out of town that you love too?
in town, there is a spot called the Archive in Bridgeport, Connecticut, which is
Yes.
actually the brick and mortar store for Vinegar Syndrome, which they refurbish old horror and exploitation movies and other things of that nature. But
Wow.
upstairs, they have vinyl, they have CDs, they have all sorts of great stuff. I'm usually there. I want to say too often, but I go with a buddy and we spend a couple hours going through stuff.
Wow.
And it's
I do
always
that
a
too.
blast.
I do that.
And then obviously we also buy a few movies as well.
Yeah.
So big ups to them because they're all great guys working there too. And it's, as a movie company, like the fact that they restored like Tammy and the T-Rex and Jack Frost and Miami Connection, like all these great like B movies. Out of town, obviously I live a train ride away from New York City. Generation Records is, in my mind, around the corner from the bitter end. because literally you just go past the bitter end, you hook a right, you'll end up at Generation Records in half a block. And man, it's a full record store, but their basement has so many records in their $1.99 section.
Oh,
It's an entire wall. The only issue is condition. So I've pulled so many records where I just opened them up and I'm like, damn it. There's a Desmond Child record in there where I see it every time and I'm like, it looks like someone burns a candle on it. It's like there's wax on one side. I'm like, I can't buy this. But I've discovered a lot of great stuff there because I do try to budget my trips to these places, and it's always funny for that one because I'm like, I have $20. They're $1.99 each plus tax. There's no way I'm spending this $20. But I have $20. Let's do this. And I'll come into the city like 2+ hours before a show at the bitter end, and I'll just be like heading straight to the basement.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow. Because I buy a lot of things for the cover. So you can see some of my shows where I'm like, I bought this for the cover because I have some creative ideas that I'd like to do using just the covers and the vinyl. So I don't care what shape the vinyl is in. If it's a really cool record, like let's just say Dragonfly or Atlantic Crossing, that are Peter Lloyd album covers.
By the way, I was gonna say Jefferson Starship was the first one that came to mind, Dragonfly, because like that's the one you buy for the cover, because it's just such a cool cover.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. It really is. And then there are other one too. I can't remember the name of it, but I've bought it a couple of times, where it's the red cover with the woman and the dragon, and I just love Spitfire something. But yeah, I love that cover, and I've bought it a couple of times because it was cheap. So
yeah, I mean, at one point in time I did a column for a site where they asked me like 10 of my favorite album covers, and there were quite a few really interesting ones there. But my friend Maya, she went by the name Fier. She now goes by Maya. She had an album come out, and it's just so cool because it's purple, pink, and blue, and it's a oil spill like canvas thing. It just looks so cool. I have it up as a piece of art in my living room. But I also always have to give special props to Big Bear doing things, because at some point in time we need that on vinyl just so we can have that bigger, because that is the most ridiculous album cover of all time. So
yeah, it's
petition to get doing things on vinyl. Come on.
Yeah,
come on, Record Store Day.
But, I mean, I had a buddy of mine do a whole dissertation about Record Store Day and how he wasn't affording to do it again. He's like, the last one that came and went. He's like, I'm not doing it.
It's not what it was meant to be anymore.
No,
it was to support independent record stores. Not so every mainstream pop and rock act can do a multicolored vinyl limited release.
Right, and so that they have to so that these mom and pop shops have to ship out, they have to get $10,000 worth of stuff that who knows if it's going to sell.
Yeah, it's actually hurting the stores.
Yeah, and I got a buddy of mine that runs a store out here in St. Charles, great store called Dirty River Records. Kyle's out there, and he's like, I just do my own Record Store Day. I just create my own picks and that kind of stuff and make some deals, And I'm like, that's smart. I mean, that's what it should be, right? Just celebrate the day. Do it the way you do it, I mean, they've been doing it for years. I do have one trivia question before you go. Aha, do you know, I just was noticing that on that, the piece Through the Whale, he says, I remember getting the award from Aerosmith for the video. In the case of Aha, with their huge hit and video, when they won, do you know who presented their award for the video?
Oh, wow.
The video awards
for Take On Me. Take On Me was what, 83? So who in 83 would have presented them with the award?
Well, but did the video go, was the video the top pick at that time? The song may have come out then, but didn't that video that was, kind of a cross of altered states, right? When he's banging on the wall at the end, it's like Altered States with William Hurt.
So good. I still can't believe all the best videos were made in like 83 to 85.
And that might have been later because I think it was presented in like 86.
So it might have been in 85. Yeah, because 85, I guess, would have had them, and it would have had Peter Gabriel at around the same time.
Correct. Yeah.
So, man, who would have presented? What? I mean, I don't think Michael Jackson was presenting anything at that point. He was too big.
Right.
Was it like Cyndi Lauper?
No, it was actually a band. It was a band.
I love Cyndi Lauper, by the way. She's amazing. Yeah,
I do too. And I've got a story I'll tell you later, but I've got to tell it to you though. So,
all right. So who presented?
It was Van Halen.
That's pretty cool.
They all came out. They weren't there. Aha wasn't there, but Van Halen came out all in red robes. They all had these plush red robes on and smoking a cigar. I think Sammy was smoking a cigar, and they just came out. Yeah, one of them. And it was Sammy and the guys, and they all came out and did that award for them. And they had Aha on a screen. So, yeah, it's pretty wild.
Very cool.
Yeah. Well, hey, all the best with the book. Is there thoughts about a second one then?
I don't know.
Okay.
The next book, I tend to go on to another subject, but while I'm writing another book on another aspect of music, I am still writing one-hit wondering columns. They go up usually the last Friday of the month on adamsworldblog.com. So yeah, I'm still writing the column every month, still doing the deep dives. So while I'm trying to conceive of the next book, this is always going to be going on. So maybe 40 more of them, who knows?
Right.
But that would be a few years down the line.
And here finally is there's the standings where you're in first place up there.
That was the craziest day when I woke up in the morning and I checked the site just on the books page, and I saw how high it was in popular music and music history. I was like, well, that's cool. And then I'm like, what's this top new release thing it says next to my title all of a sudden? And I clicked on it and I was like, oh my God, I'm ahead of Britney Spears and Madonna. Like, what is going on? Yeah. As a few of my friends pointed out, it's the only opportunity I'll ever be to be on top of Britney Spears. But yes, so that is what it is.
Sweet.
But yeah, I was like, this is such a moment. And Amazon updates that, I think, either every 8 hours or twice a day. And it was there for the full day. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, this is wild. And of course, in the back of my head, I was like, this is the greatest calling card I could have asked for.
No doubt.
Like now, whenever I do what I do next, I can say, by the way, my book was just at #1.
And I was on top of Britney Spears.
Yeah. I have to save that one for a different story. And Madonna.
And Madonna. I mean, but I think the Britney Spears would probably these days might be a little more fun, but I don't know. It'd be wicked weird still. I mean,
And I guess technically on top of BTS, but let's not go there.
Yeah, let's definitely not go there.
But thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. This was such a great conversation.
Awesome.
Yeah, just an incredible conversation, man. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for leading with Exposed. Holy crap. That was
that was so random and perfect.
That's amazing, dude. Okay. I have nothing else to say. Well, if you have a second, I can talk to you backstage after we wrap up, and then I will talk to you here in just a second before I go, and we'll do an ending here. Thanks again, brother. I really appreciate it. One hit wonder.
Thank you so much.
Check it out. Get out there on Amazon. It's an affordable book. That's what else I love about it too. It's cool information. It's quick reading. You're gonna love it. It's got awesome dug up information that you don't normally think about, but can connect with something that's not even in the book. A lot of the stuff in there, you're going to connect with it because of something else. It's really cool. Check it out. We folks my age, check it out for your kids. They lived through that and they'll love it. So, and for yourselves, if you're just a music head. So awesome. All right, brother. Thanks a lot. And remember, everybody.
Thank you.
When you step outside your door every day, you're in everybody else's world. They're not in yours. So act accordingly, please. And let's not run around thinking it's us that's number one. Okay? All right. Take it easy, guys. We'll see you soon.
You're gone, man.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me, mate?
You're gone, man.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me, mate?